Hey guys, welcome back to AF Farms and welcome back to our Haut Beyleron Start From Scratch Let's Play series. So carrying on from last episode, we've just finished our ploughing contract on field 27. So $3,373 out of that one, so not too bad. So I'm going to collect that. Now, this field was a bit of a challenge to plough. It took nearly 45 minutes to an hour with that worker to plough this field. So having a look at it, it's actually quite a big field relative to the size of the plough that was being used and the size of the tractor. So we're still on our first in-game day, so we haven't cycled through that yet. What I'm thinking of possibly doing is sleeping for one day and then coming back and seeing if we've got any decent used vehicles, because currently we've got nothing. We've got a couple of contracts there. What do we got? So we got three fertilizing and a couple more ploughing. So I don't want to run into the scenario of having to wait an hour to do one contract, because it's basically in line with the season. So if we look at the seasonal growth calendar, actually probably the PDA is a better indicator of what's happening on the map. So if we look at the wider map and what the growth states are, so obviously purple is ploughed. Probably looking for crops. I don't know where these other two ploughed fields are. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to pass on those contracts for now, and I'm going to just try and chance. First of all, I want to see how much money we generate from the solar panels, and then I want to see what we land on in the contract department and the used vehicle sales when we sleep for one day. So let's try this out and see what we come up with. So part of the strategy of having the solar panels is to be able to sleep often to sort of speed up the gameplay loop. So 14,800, so that's not too bad. Obviously we've got a bit of rain now, so that's going to reduce the output. But that'll allow us to hopefully... Okay, so we've got a front loader, which is no help to us at all. Let's go have a look at the contracts. Well, the rain's definitely coming in hard. So hopefully we've still got some of those contracts. Yeah, we've got a few more. So what I'm going to do is, so this field is going to take forever. That field's probably going to take a while. I reckon we're going to, yeah, let's go for one of these, I think. Yeah, let's go for the 8,000. So I'm going to try and run 3 contracts simultaneously. So let's accept the contract and borrow the items. So let's borrow the items in that one. And just before we... Because the other thing too is we can't harvest when it's raining, so we might stay clear of... What tractor is this? Oh, Deutzfahr. I do like the Deutzfahr equipment, especially the tractors. They're very stylish. Definitely need the front weight for this one, of course. Alright, and we are off to field 13, so let's drive on up there. So what I'll do is I'll get these guys set up first of all. Where are we going to go? Up that way. Turn left. Okay. I think I know where we're going. So once again, I'm just going to drive up there and take in the scenery. So I really like how they've... it's a faithful recreation of a town and village, especially this section here we're coming up into. Like, it's really selling the... not ancient, but, you know, the stone wall village, very postcard-esque. cobblestones, the street lights, the elevation towards the river. Just looks really nice. And considering this map is now, what, 2 years old? 2 and a bit years old? Okay, so we go left up here, we've got a nice big bridge up there. So this is actually going to be a fairly large field, it would look like. Alright, so what I'm going to try and do is I will just get this guy set up. See how he handles the hill. Alright, can we... There we go. Now, I'm thinking we've got enough horsepower to get up here, but it is quite a slope. Yes, this field is going to take a while. So let's just see how they go. Yeah, we're pretty slow. We're probably going to have to go across the hill, I would say. So what I'll do is I'll do a headland row here, just so we don't interact with those, I think these are poplars, or some form of conifer. I do know the name of that tree, but I can't remember it off the top of my head right this minute. Alright, so we'll get this guy underway. Let's go and check out our other contracts. So we want to probably utilise... I'm just going to go for the big ticket contracts. Cultivating. Yeah, let's go cultivating, because then it doesn't cost me... Because obviously fertilising, I've got to pay for the fertiliser, which adds another layer of expense. Okay, so we're ploughing field 13, so let's get... let's just actually check our vehicle sales again, so we've got nothing at the moment. Get another contract underway, so let's go for a cultivating contract on field 47, so borrow the items for that one. Now I really do like that you can have more than one contract underway in FS22. FS19, from memory, you're only able to do one, which didn't really make contracts that attractive to me. Alright, where are we going to go? So field 13 is the other contract, field 47, so we've got to go south over the... Okay, yep. Don't unfold that just yet. So I turned on the stop-go braking just because I'm on console. It's easy with the L2 and R2 triggers to do that. I've got snow turned on still, but I'm going to probably turn that off just because, I mean, I don't want to have to deal with the snow. I mean, I may have it on once just to see what the map looks like with snow on. But I'm going to leave seasons on. And just, and I did mention I'm probably going to change the economy settings down the track. That's just because I don't like playing on that low income setting. I'm not that hardcore. Actually, I think I've missed my turn here. Too busy chatting. I've got crop destruction turned on, so I don't normally play with crop destruction on. However, I don't make a habit of driving on the crops anyway. So it's more of the same for me. But I'll just have to be disciplined to remember that I don't do a little sneaky cut through here and there. Geez, I really have taken a long way around here. Alright, cruise control on. Admire the little river here. So I do like the landscaping on this map quite a lot. And I do like the weather effects. Obviously it's raining at the moment, so we've got that overcast sort of vibe. I'm hoping for the next main title they really improve the weather visually and have more sort of dynamic, heavier rain. I mean, it may not look good for a let's play or graphically if the rain is very heavy, but I think having that dynamic, really ferocious rain will really add to the atmosphere. So we're in September at the moment, so we're coming, I think this is technically fall. I'm from the southern hemisphere, so the seasons are backwards, so I always have to double check whenever I'm trying to compute in my brain what we are supposed to be in. Alright, so that looks like that's the grain mill, so we've got to go over the train line. Not into the train line, hopefully. Alright, here we are. So field 47. We are just going to start in this corner here. Now, this is a cultivator I don't normally use, so this is going to be a first for me. Please don't bag out my reversing just there. So what have we got? We got the New Holland T7. So I really like the New Holland blue. And what have we got on the back there? We've got the Lemken Karat 12. Nice detail. Probably could have gone a bit wider and just overlapping slightly, but cool. Alright, he's underway. Or I should say, she is underway. Alright, let's get another contract underway, so we'll probably go for another big ticket one. Not going to do harvesting just yet because it's raining. Plowing. Oh, look, let's go this one. 29,000. It's going to take forever, but it's 30 grand. Plus we get into the Case IH quad track. So probably one of my favourite tractors in the game. The 9RX is also another favourite. I do like the T9 New Holland. Alright, let's go and see where we've got to go. So field 26, so that is a bit of a hike. So let's go out of here, turn left. Or turn right, if I'm reading the map the right way around. And let's see if we can make it there without a serious collision of any kind. So we'll go up here, we'll turn around over the other bridge. So I think if I played this map a little bit when it first came out. I did spend most of my playthrough time on Elm Creek, but I do think that this is, I want to say, the better map out of the two. I think Elm Creek, like parts of that map are just not like basically where the freeway is that runs through the center of Elm Creek. Anything north of that freeway I'd usually have nothing to do with. All my gameplay is focused on the south of that, so I think it's really a missed opportunity. Whereas here we've got the river that sort of divides the two sections of the map, but it's basically, there's almost equal opportunity for me as in my play style and how I play to use both ends. And I think too, having the grain mill centrally located, which we've got here on Haut Beyleron, really helps that. Okay, let's go left here. At least for me, because I tend to favour arable farming, in particular grain crops, so flour, bread. They're probably my two go-tos. And then obviously canola and other such items. So let's see if we can get these cars through. Okay, there's quite a large amount of cars coming through there. I mean, rush hour and Haut Beyleron all of a sudden. Anyway. And I think I just like the field layout here a little bit better as well. Like, you've got good sized fields. You've got nice open areas for big machinery, which I'm also a fan of. And this is our field here, before we drive past. Alright. Okay, so let's rotate the plough. Now I think this one overlaps slightly to our left. So, okay, rotate plough. How about lower plough? Is this it? Okay. Could be wrong here. Okay, let's lower that. So if I hire the worker just now. Okay, so we've got a pretty small working width, so this is going to take a huge amount of time. I forgot the size of this field. Wow, okay. I mean, this field is massive. Oh, look at the size of it. Having just come from field 37 in the prior episode, where it took 45 minutes to plough that little section. Oh, this is the BGA. Haven't actually had a look at this. Very nice. Ah, I like this shed. I used this shed in Elm Creek. Not Elm Creek, No Man's Land. Weybridge too. So I've got that on No Man's Land. So these are obviously the assets from here, this map, that are reused in other decorative mods. So we've got an EV charging station. Nice layout. Very cool. Anyway, back to our field of dreams. So yeah, this is huge. I mean, I'm gonna have to get some other equipment in there, I think, to help plough that out, because we are going to be here forever otherwise. Alright, let's go and head over to our contracts menu. Let's find another one. Spraying. So this might be a little bit more reasonable, actually. Let's have a look. So I'm going to borrow the items. So you've got to always make sure to hit triangle or borrow items, because if you accept the contract and you don't have any equipment, then you basically... Farm already has 3 active contracts, or do I? Okay, good to know. Let's have a look. Cultivating, plowing, and plowing. Okay. 20%, 12%, 1%. Alright, let's go check on our soybeans. If I can remember what I'm doing. Yeah, so we want to go here. Okay, field 38 is the one that we own. So it is... Where's its growth state? So it'll be ready to harvest probably tomorrow. Okay, let's head back to our farmhouse. So we've got $151,000 left. I'm wondering what else we can do initially. Like, I'm going to put some greenhouses in. Also I'm also mindful of that loan that we've got underway. We've also got some sorghum here that we could flip. Let's have a look. Okay, Alex JQ, sorghum ready to harvest. It's currently raining, so let's check the weather forecast. Okay, so it is raining up until 1 PM. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to ride out this rain. I'm going to purchase this field and we're going to flip it. So hopefully it's under 150 grand. So 81,000. So let's buy that. So if you're not sure what field flipping is, basically we can buy this plot of land with the sorghum on it, and it's ready to harvest. So we own this field now, it's ours. Alright, we've done no work to get it to this stage. So in a game mode like Start From Scratch, where it's got a bit of a hypnotic movement happening. That's pretty cool. Obviously with the rain. Anyway, I've done a video on field flipping, check it out if you want to find out more. But it's basically the strategy of buying a field, harvesting the crop that's on it, and then selling the empty field back to the game for what you paid for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip ahead time, because we can't harvest in the rain, and we're going to have to lease a harvester and going forward in time, we may actually end up with some used equipment that might be useful. So I'm going to cut the video here. I'm going to speed up time to 1 o'clock when the rain stops, and then we'll come back in and look at harvesting this sorghum. So see you in a couple of minutes. Alright, here we are, back in sunny skies. So the rain forecast has obviously moved on. So now we've got clear weather. So our sorghum is ready to go. So let's have a look at what we can lease to get this up. Now, I've got a decision to make in terms of the cost. So the cost versus reward of harvesting this sorghum. So basically, we're on hard economic difficulty in start from scratch, which is pretty standard. So the price of sorghum is, so what's the price fluctuation? So it's got a peak price of $524 per 1,000 litres. Best price is 400 at grain mill. Marathon is the train, so we're not interested in that. So what I'm concerned about is if I basically lease a harvester, the money I make from this sorghum is probably just going to cover the lease of the harvester. So there's no real net gain. Unless I can get a... yeah, which we don't have. And the sorghum is likely going to go with it if I don't get it up today, according to the seasons calendar. So sorghum is ready to harvest. Why can't I see sorghum? So yeah, September is the last month to get the sorghum up. So let's just bite the bullet here and lease a combine. So I'm going to go something with a reasonable size because I don't want to be spending hours doing this. Actually, let's be sensible here and not... how much is this going to cost? So let's have a look. So that's going to cost us 14 grand to lease that. Yeah, wow, I don't think so. If we go the Rostamash Nova, what is this gonna... do you want to lease it for 3,825? That's probably a little bit more in the ballpark. And then the other thing is I've got to get it over to the sell point to sell. So where the Deutz far? That's going to cost us 6,000 plus 2,000 every work hour. Yeah, I really don't think this is a worthwhile endeavour. Not at this price. I know I do have the money. I'd probably rather spend it on greenhouses, to be honest. Because if I look at the price of greenhouse productions, so let's have a look. What do we got? Lettuce is usually a pretty good money maker. Yeah, so $909 for lettuce. And it's got a peak price of 1,118. So for the cost of leasing a harvester, selling this crop, it's unlikely on the hard economy. It's unlikely that I'm gonna break even, and I'll have nothing to really show for it. So I think I'm gonna pass on the sorghum and the harvesting for now. So let's go and get rid of this land. So let's sell that. So we'll sell that for what we paid for it. So obviously these are the decisions you've kind of got to make in this sort of game mode. Like it seems, so if I was playing in New Farmer or just a casual Let's Play, I'd pick that sorghum up any day of the week, sell it on max price on easy economy, happy days. But because I'm going to try and stick with the hard economy for as long as possible, just to give myself a bit of an extra challenge. Like, I'm not really that into the hardcore survival series. I mean, I don't mind watching them, but I don't really enjoy playing them. I mean, I haven't played them before, so I don't really know. But it's just something that I don't normally gravitate towards. I tend to gravitate towards making more money as fast as possible and not having to struggle unnecessarily or too much. So how's this guy travelling along? They're getting up the hill alright. Okay, well, this contract's about 50% done, it looks like. So moving along nicely. And this one we've done 4 passes maybe. Let's have a look at the contract status. %, 51%, cool. Alright, yeah, that's not too bad. So let's back out of there. Let's head back to the farm quickly. Yeah, so obviously we passed on the sorghum because it just doesn't seem sensible right now to deal with that. One thing I do want to check actually before I forget is the cost of this loan. So how much does the loan cost us in repayments? Okay, so $666 on a $200,000 loan. So it's really not. It's minuscule, really, for a $200,000 loan. And we are making. So we made 14 grand on our solar panels in August, and we've already made 3,700 in September. So we've covered our loan costs. We could cover some leasing costs, but I think I'm gonna hold out for some decent used machinery. The other thing too is we've got these soybeans that are just going to be sitting here ready to harvest, and they're probably going to wither. I mean, what's the price of soybeans actually? Let's have a look. On hard economy. So a peak price of 1,200. So I think in easy they're about 3 grand peak price. So reasonably lucrative. I mean, at the moment they're, yeah, I think it's going to be something that we look at in the future. I think greenhouses are probably going to be a better bet. I mean, for the outlay. So if we go to product, oh, even chickens. So what can we get for eggs? So eggs are about 1,400 peak price. Let's just have a quick cruise through here and see what's got the best. Eggs, bread. Bread's what I want to have a look at. Yeah, bread's getting up there, nearly 2 grand. But pretty expensive to produce. Clothes. So cotton. Okay, fabric, 3,000. Cereal, so that takes quite a bit of work. Canola, it's got a peak price of 1,900. We need the wheel mill for that. Lettuce, tomatoes, strawberries. So lettuce might be our next little moneymaker. But we're obviously going to need a tractor and a water source. So if we look at productions, greenhouses, we'll probably go straight for the big one, large greenhouse. And we'd get a series of these set up I'm thinking probably in a row, just along here. So if I'm going to buy, I'm not going to buy them now, but because I've got nothing to put in there, we could basically line them up along here, or we can line them up this way, just so we've got easy access to pick up the pallets later on. What I like to do is I like to line them up so the water access is easy, and then the picking up the pallets is easy, so the pallets will spawn down there. It's a bit hard to see, yeah. So we'll figure that out soon. Let's see how we're going with these contracts. Cool. Alright. Let's go and get a bird's eye view. Yeah, so there this one's about probably, I want to say, a third the way done. This one is probably 2/3. And this one is going to be a long way off. So I'm thinking too, if I'm going to be doing these contracts, it's going to make sense for me to have other jobs that I can do in and around the contracts that are quite manual. So obviously we can use 3 workers here. We can use up 3 workers on the contracts, that's fine. And then the 4th contract, well, we can't do 4 contracts, but the 4th job that I could be doing, I can do myself. So for the greenhouses, that could be just a simple matter of carting the water back and forth. I've got some trees on the... Let's go back to our farm. Okay, visit. Got a couple of trees that I can cut down, so I've got a couple here. And a couple there. So that'll give us some wood chips, but then the other thing is I've got to figure out a way to transport them around. It'll just be a bit of extra work for me to do that. I don't think it's that worthwhile. I'd probably rather try and do something else at this stage. So I'm thinking greenhouses are going to be the go, because obviously I just need water, and I've got the river here, which is a little bit tricky to probably get water out of. If I find a decent spot, yeah, probably just through here. I could back the trailer in. That's not an issue. Where else have we got water? So we've got a big lake there. That'd be easy to get water from. But I obviously don't want to be driving too far, so somewhere close by would be better. Here's probably a little bit too steep. I'll probably do it in here, one of these spots. So we will have an option, it looks like, to get water from the river. I mean, not yet tested this yet, but failing that, I'll just invest the 5 grand into a water tank and place that somewhere in this area, nice and close to where the greenhouses are going to go. That way it eliminates the excess movement from farm to water source and back again. But you obviously have to pay for the water as well, so we can save ourselves a bit of cash if we do the trip. Alright, a few things to think about. So yeah, we'll leave that episode there. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate the support. All the likes, comments and shares really help me out. Like I said, if you've got any comments, feedback, questions, leave a comment below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one, and bye for now.